Hello and welcome to Sportingways.com. My name's Thomas Rooney and once again I'm joined by Joe Rooney. What we're going to do to start with this week, obviously we're going to be looking ahead to the two Euro 2012 semi-finals in a second, but first of all we're just going to have a bit of a recap on England's tournament really, and in particular their quarter-final performance against Italy. Obviously went out on penalties, went the whole way, which meant Roy Hodgson's men didn't lose a game in Euro 2012, but generally frustrating, deja vu feeling. What did you make of England's performance in the tournament overall and specifically against Italy?
I think the tournament overall there was signs of things getting better, but in the end, in the quarter-final against not the best side in the competition by any means, they were simply outplayed and were not good enough. That's what it is, and I struggle to give the team quite so much shit because I think they gave it a lot that they could. I think they gave it all they could really, but I think in the end they just weren't good enough and they couldn't really. They had the players on the pitch to go and do it, but I don't know if they had the belief, and they just didn't seem quite right.
I don't like the mentality that England simply almost weren't good enough to attack Italy, because that seems to be the thing that we're against a good Italian side. It's a decent Italian side, they've got some good players, but we should back ourselves to be a really good side as well, because on that pitch towards the end we were settling for penalties.
Yeah,
England was settling for penalties, which, given our record in it and given how, regardless of your record in it, it comes down to, it's a bit of potluck at the end. The fact we didn't give it a go, with Gerrard on the pitch, you could bomb forward. We had Walcott, we could have got the ball to do a lot more. Rooney could have come a bit deeper and sort of got the ball and spread it a bit, which didn't do anything that looks like we wanted to. And in reality, we probably should have lost 3 or 4-0 in normal time. And in a way, that would have been easier to take, do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think it was disappointment. The likes of someone like Ashley Young, who you had big hopes for the tournament. He didn't have a good game in the whole tournament, did he? He was no good whatsoever, and I think that then sort of puts doubt into other players' minds. You know, Gerrard, I think he was our best player in the competition, but he's then worrying about bombing forward because can he leave? We had young Jordan Henderson with him, didn't he? Can he leave him exposed? And I think it was just they just weren't good enough in the end.
In terms of where England go from here, obviously stick with Roy Hodgson because he's done a decent enough job on with not much time to prepare, but you think going forward, sort of the next major tournament, maybe you will see the likes of maybe Wiltshire back in, and Oxlade Chamberlain will be a couple of years old, Andy Carroll, Danny Welbeck, these players will all still be there with maybe the likes of Gerrard and Terry moving on.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, you say with England after any major tournament, the next one's where we're going to be alright. I think this time you think, is the next one going to be? There's promising players coming through, and I think you've got to go with the youth. You've got to even use another tournament as a stepping stone, given progress. Look at Germany, who've had sort of 3 tournaments, haven't they, where they've been the nearly men, and this year look to be one of the strongest outfits. So they've got to do something like that, bring the youth through, give them tournament experience, and as brilliant as Gerrard and Terry were in the competition, maybe it's time for them to move on, I think.
Yeah. Okay, so now it's time to look ahead to the 2 Euro 2012 semi-finals. Okay, first up we're going to look at Portugal versus Spain. It takes place tonight, it's Wednesday evening, it's the first Euro 2012 semi-final, and we'll talk about Portugal to begin with. And with Portugal, obviously Ronaldo's got a hell of a lot of credit, obviously, and we'll talk about him in a second, but do you think they deserve credit elsewhere as well? Because the defence has done well in the last couple of games, and you can't, as good as Ronaldo is, surely you can't take a team to a major tournament semi-final completely on his own, so credit to the rest of the Portugal team, do you think? Yeah,
he's had good support, and I think the defence has been solid. They've been a well organised outfit, better than many people expected from them. And I think they look good. They look decent.
Okay, and obviously they've got something about them, I think, haven't they, which England haven't. Because obviously, talent-wise, you can sort of pick out maybe more players that people would talk about in the England side than with the Portugal side. But they've obviously got that more belief in the likes of Ronaldo leading them. And they just, generally major tournaments, they've just got a bit more know-how than England, and that's really frustrating as an England fan because you sort of see what they've done and you think, well, we could have maybe replicated that.
Yeah, they seem to be just more of a unit, I think, than England do, and they've got players with a bit more flair, I think, and they've got those sort of the determination of people like Morelos in centre midfield, and they just seem to be a general better outfit, and sort of everyone seems to know their job a little bit better, I think.
Okay, and obviously talk about Ronaldo, like we said. Do you think the fact that he's playing against the Liga opponents or teammates, as it might be, might motivate him more, or do you think they'll know him better, or do you think it's just generally going to be a really fascinating battle between him and some Real Madrid teammates and Barcelona players and stuff like that?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a fascinating battle as well. I think Ronaldo's going to raise his game even more, but then the players he's playing against will yeah, you know, like you say, some of them will know his game a little bit more, so he's going to have to raise it. But he's, as we've said it a few times, he's the man, isn't he?
The thing is, everyone knows Ronaldo's game, really.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you can stop him, does it? So, be interesting to see, certainly. We'll talk about Spain. I thought they were really, really good against France. 2-0 victory. The word I thought was sort of most apt was professional and sort of classy. And sort of the way Xabi Alonso just, you know, the pressure was on for that second, for the penalty. Just slotted it home, no problem. On his 100th cap for Spain, scored 2 goals. They've won the game, job done. And they deserve a lot of credit for how they've stepped up their performances in this tournament.
Yeah, definitely. They've just got better and better as it's gone on, hasn't it? You know, people were starting to doubt them in the group stages, but they've gone on. They wiped France aside. And yeah, I think you don't need to play a striker, do you? When you've got people like Alonso coming up with 2 goals, you know, you're holding midfielders coming in at the back post, and you know, they're just, with that many quality midfielders, get them all on the pitch because they're all just some of the best players in the world. And I think any one of those midfielders would walk into the England side. And they're oozing talent. They really are. And
you mentioned that sort of the criticism they've got slightly for their performances behind the bar, but I just think it's almost maybe a case of people getting a little bit bored about praising Spain because they've had 3 major tournaments in a row where they've been fantastic. And if this was like their first tournament they come to the fore, then everyone would be completely raving about them. You're talking about all these midfielders you was mentioning there, and there won't be any criticism whatsoever. So they're still a fantastic side, and along with Germany, probably the team to beat, aren't they?
Yeah, I think a lot of maybe pundits and stuff are sort of running out of things to say about it. It's all the same again. So maybe saying, they're not changing their game when they need to or whatever. Don't change anything. They know that they might not be sometimes, although they play great football, not the most exciting team to watch because they pass a lot, but they know they've got the quality to break a side down and they'll get a goal.
Yeah, it's just patience. They stick to their game plan, don't they? And
exactly.
They've got to be favourites for this semi-final. And on that note, we'll go for a prediction. And I do think it's going to be Spain that come through. I think they'll just about have enough sort of to get through a decent Portugal side that has grown confidence as the tournament's gone on. But in the end, I think Spain will nick it 2-1.
Yeah, I think Spain are going to do it as well, but I think a slightly tighter affair. I think there's actually going to be no goals in 90 minutes, and Spain are going to do what they do quite a lot and win by the odd goal in extra time. So 1-0 to Spain.
Okay, next up is the second Euro 2012 semi-final. It's Germany versus Italy, and it's on Thursday evening. We'll talk about the Germans to begin with. To be honest with them, there's not really much to say that hasn't been said already because they've gone through the tournament, they've won every single game. You could have rewound 6 months, they're winning every qualification game, and they're just an extremely good side that have that definitely got a massive chance of winning this whole tournament, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the quarterfinals against Greece, it was they were worried at one point when it went to 1-1, but then they just seemed to have that quality to say, all right, we need to go and score now, and then they found themselves falling up, and it was 4-2 in the end, wasn't it? But I mean, the manager made a massive decision in resting sort of 3 of their big names, didn't he? I think it was Gomez, Muller, and Podolski, and those big decisions are what can win you tournaments. And the fact that those 3 are now all likely to come into the game fresh, eager to impress, just makes them a frightening opponent.
And do you think, in a way, this is the semi-final stage? There's obviously 2 games to go in theory for them, and almost this is where their tournament starts because they breezed through the group stages somewhat. Obviously, after a couple of games, they were basically there.
Yeah.
Then in the last round, you say against Greece, there was a slight threat, but in the end, they raised their game, and it was job done. Sort of with quite a bit to go in that game without their players. So when you're saying the semi-finals, this is where they really need to this is where the tournament starts. I mean, that just shows exactly where they are, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? I mean, they've had an extra day's rest as well, and I think
broken sweat yet?
No, I don't think so. No, but that's credit to them as well, because don't forget the group they were in. They're in such a difficult group. They had to play Portugal and Holland and Denmark, who are no mugs themselves, and and they absolutely they breezed through that group, and I think they're looking like the best side in this competition at the minute.
Okay, and then Italy, obviously they beat England in the last round. They were dominant against England. But do they'll go for the same approach this time in terms of their passing and using Pirlo a lot, but take their chances this time? Because obviously against England, it was 0-0 after extra time, so despite their dominance. So
I don't think they need to actually change anything at all in their game, and they've just got to back themselves to actually score, because I think they will. And I think what happened against England was sort of a freak occurrence, really, because I can't remember a side missing that many chances, but I think they'll go and do the same again. And there's no need to change anything for them.
And as we mentioned Pirlo there, he's sort of very simple his game in a way, but he's top class. And do you think he couldn't believe his luck that he wasn't pressured more by England? And do you think Germany will probably learn the lessons of that because he just dictated everything, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, you talk about the Germans not breaking sweat. I mean, Pirlo's another one who didn't break sweat in that game, did he? I don't think he really left the centre circle too much, but he was influential. And Germany have got to stop him. But I think credit goes to Pirlo as well. Although he was in space a lot, he finds that space as well. He's very, very intelligent, and as we know, he's got kind of ice in his veins as well, hasn't he? When he steps up for a penalty.
Yeah, and I think maybe England sort of just underestimated how much you can influence a game from that far back, and just thought, well, let's let them have it there. But obviously, he created a lot, and he'll look to get Balotelli in again. It generally should be a really fascinating semi-final, and just quickly, if it goes all the way, you would kind of back Buffon every time to do it, wouldn't you? But then it's against the Germans, so comes to penalties, so the battle of the two sort of experts in that sense.
Yeah, I think it could be a sudden death penalty.
It could be. So Buffon could take a penalty himself. I can picture it now.
Yeah.
We'll go for prediction now on that note, and I think I've been too impressed with Germany. I think Italy will be tired from the game against England, and sort of they might be frustrated they didn't take their chances. And I think it could be a case for them again. They might not just have that clinical in front of goal, and I'm going to go for Germany in normal time. I think it's going to be 3-1.
Yeah, I'm going to go for, again, a tighter affair, and I'm going to go the other way. I think it's going to be 1-1 after 90 minutes and go into extra time. I think then both teams will back themselves in the penalty shootout, so they won't.
A long penalty shootout.
Yeah, so they won't go for it so much. But I think in the end, Italy, with their know-how in the penalties in this tournament, will take it on spot kicks.